with 23. This change affecting the coast as well. That extended forecast coming up in just a few moments.
And for Wind viewers, that's where we leave 10 News first. Your local Wind News Bulletin is next.
Across far north Queensland, this is Wind News.
Tonight, could the far north replicate Tasmania's tourism voucher success? Council moves to change outdated and offensive creek names. And how regional developments could drive our COVID recovery. Good evening, welcome to Wind News. I'm Lincoln Humphries. Also tonight, rare fish and new dark coral species discovered on the deepest parts of our reef. Queensland has recorded 8 new COVID-19 infections overnight, all in quarantine and linked to outbreaks at the Brisbane Youth Detention Centre and Ipswich Hospital. The focus for far northern tour operators remains firmly on rejuvenating the sluggish sector. There are fresh hopes a voucher scheme rolled out in Tasmania could be replicated successfully in the tropical north.
While southern areas are enjoying a drive market boost from nearby Brisbane, the far north's tourism sector is in freefall.
Some destinations, hitting record months, and we're hitting record lows.
Tasmania tasted success through its $7.5 million Make Yourself at Home campaign. $100 accommodation and $50 experience vouchers snapped up, oversubscribing the scheme within just 40 minutes. The Premier already talking of a repeat.
I think another program is something that we should certainly consider.
As TTNQ launches its summer campaign, a similar rollout could attract tourists outside our traditional peak season. Ms Bennett pitching the idea direct to the Premier last week as one way to overcome the Sunshine State's two-speed tourism economy.
If there were to be packages like this, I believe it has to be for remote regions that haven't seen the same influx of numbers. I think we need to start exploring a lot of different options to try and boost business for regions.
Wind News did not receive a response from Tourism Minister Kate Jones by deadline. The state's already injected nearly $500 million worth of supports for the sector and hasn't ruled out extras, but where tourism accounts for $3.6 billion of Tasmania's state product, it's worth $28.3 billion in Queensland.
When Cairns comes back and is back to normal, whatever normal might look like, we need to know that the businesses are being supported by government and through government incentive schemes.
The size of the industry in Queensland as well. So yes, a lot of dollars have had to be thrown at it because it's in such a very bad way.
Sophie Lester, Wind News.
Cairns Regional Council has passed a motion to rename a controversial Edmonton creek. Indigenous representatives welcome the move, saying it may not be the last name to receive an update in our region.
Cairns's creeks and rivers are among our most precious natural assets. But for traditional owners, names like this one spoil that beauty.
I think we need to change it. I think it's a human response. It's a people response.
Councillor Rob Pine leading the charge to rename the creek.
It was named about the Aboriginal people that lived there. Let's look at naming things with the Indigenous people rather than about them.
Council is keen to be a leader in this space and help right wrongs of the past.
Certainly looking throughout the state, there are a lot of quite racist names in other locations, and hopefully by setting best practice, maybe other areas too can look at themselves.
Community members hope the creek will now revert to its traditional name, Bunnagindaja.
I think it's a part of the history. Cairns has only been here for 142 years, and the name that was previous there for the last 60,000 years.
Council still hasn't decided what the new name will be.
Let's have a name that Aboriginal people and the wider community can celebrate, and that will stand out as something positive.
The state government must also sign off on the change before it can be finalised by Council. James Ingram, Wind News.
Trials of the highly rated Oxford COVID vaccine have been put on hold due to what's being called an adverse reaction. It comes just 2 days after the federal government announced a $1.7 billion deal, including securing supply of the vaccine should it be successful. Australia's Deputy Chief Medical Officer says it doesn't put it off the table, but rather the pause is a testimony to the rigour and safety focus of the trials, which are expected to resume in the coming days. Police are pleading with parents to avoid leaving their kids in cars, no matter how briefly, after 2 children were rescued at a Smithfield shop. Officers warn the interior temperature can quickly climb to more than 40 degrees, even in cooler far north weather.
it appears, left a couple of young children asleep in a car, has moved into the shops, probably not that far away from the car. And from there, very, very quickly, unfortunately, the cars got quite warm. Someone found the kids distressed, opened the door and called the police.
Cracking the window makes no difference. The car gets just as hot just as quickly, so that isn't a way to think you're going to prevent harm to your child if you were just nipping to the shop.
Young children are most at risk, with kids under 1 year of age accounting for a third of deaths caused by being left in hot cars, while 95% of deaths are children under 4. The message is never leave your child unattended and call 000 immediately if you suspect any signs of heat stress. 1 in 3 Australians will access crisis support for themselves or a loved one at risk of suicide during their lifetime. But regional residents face greater barriers to those services than their city counterparts. Tomorrow marks World Suicide Prevention Day, and advocates are urging us all to open up to banish the stigma.
From counselling to crisis support, Australia's Suicide Prevention Network is one of the best in the world, but there's a hitch.
Access to those services is not as consistent as it is in metropolitan and cities.
Suicide Prevention Australia explains our spread out state makes access to help harder, with regional communities 7% more likely to be impacted by multiple losses.
Those challenges, I think, are very prevalent in large remote areas, particularly, for example, Western Queensland, Northern Queensland, where access to services becomes quite difficult.
Economic downturn in regional areas are contributed to higher rates of suicide, concerns climbing 7% since the start of the COVID crisis, triggering service expansions.
We've seen roughly around a 25% increase in calls to Lifeline. But positively, we are answering more of those calls now than we ever have done before.
What we know about suicide is that it's a very complex issue, and we also know that it's bigger than mental health. It's not just about keeping people mentally well, it's about the economy, it's about focusing on relationships.
Service providers urging all of us to play a role in banishing the stigma surrounding suicide.
There are a lot of myths around stigma and around avoiding having those tricky conversations, but absolutely people are far more likely to accept help and reach out for help if they're supported by friends and family.
And if this story has raised any concerns for you or a loved one, please call Lifeline on 13 11 14. Sophie Lester, Win News.
Economic experts are looking to regional areas like ours to lead Australia's recovery from the pandemic downturn. But that recovery will depend on how well state and federal governments can target support to encourage decentralisation and innovation.
It's a call to action from some of our state's top economic experts.
There are lots of opportunities, particularly in terms of getting new workforce to relocate out of metropolitan areas and stimulating businesses.
This virtual think tank, Adamant Structures in regional Queensland, set businesses up for success.
What we see is the cooperation that can happen in small regional cities that no large metro area can ever compete with, from education and business, and everybody is trying to support you.
CQ University's Rise of the Regions expert panel discussing ways governments could work with regional communities to boost our economy ravaged by the global pandemic.
What are the industries that could be developed in regional areas that build on current strengths, and how can we better encourage them?
If I could be the treasurer for a day, I'd redirect some money up here and away from South East Queensland, and that's what we need to do in order to drive the growth up here.
You can have all the fancy sensors on your cattle tracking them, but if you don't have connectivity, there's not much you can do with that data.
The first week of the free online Festival of Change events focused on bright youth futures, attracting nearly 200 participants from across Australia. Events will run until Thursday, September 17. For more information, head online. Leanne Neeby, Win News.
A treasure trove of new coral species has been found by Australian scientists while exploring the deepest regions of the Great Barrier Reef. Researchers from all over Australia, including Cairns James Cook University, were taken to the eastern edge of the reef, where research was conducted almost 2 kilometres below the ocean's surface.
This is the first time we've really put deep water cameras down there and also to collect the animals that live in these deeper waters. Certainly no one has really looked at these depths before.
They discovered 5 new dark corals and sponges. The expedition is also the first time the extremely rare camouflaged Rhinopeus agroliba fish was spotted in Australia. Virtual streaming, collection robots and other groundbreaking technologies were all deployed. Up next on Win News, an incredible croc encounter captured on the Bloomfield River. Plus, could a warming climate pose some serious biosecurity risks?
The end of an empire while keeping up with the Kardashians is done. 6:30.
Look around. As the favourites come out, it begins. Observing with an eagle eye. Mastering the art of stashing. Oh, brilliant Irv Grant. Cadbury favourites. Everyone gets their favourites.
So good to be going to a wedding again. Jeez, I've missed that.
Rediscover the road with a 3.9% comparison rate across the Corolla range. Oh, what a feeling. Toyota.
Big Jack, now at Hungry Jack's. Bigger, better, flamier. Special sauce and flame-grilled Aussie beef. Think you can handle it? Meet the Mega Jack. For a limited time at Hungry Jack's, the burgers are better.
Can you bring the glasses? Oh, it's annoying. They're still wet.
To help avoid that, just add Finish Rinseaid. It speeds up drying for drier and shinier dishes. Try Finish Rinseaid today.
No time for hay fever? Get back to life fast with Zyrtec. No hay fever tablet works faster.
We've been your Sunday drive. Your taxi. Your home away from home. We've shared your journey. Now with Mazda Assured, the journey continues. With a guaranteed future value, you can enjoy a new Mazda more often. Search Mazda Assured today.
Do you have a deck like this? Sick of the maintenance and this old tired look?
Check this out. This is Patio World's famous aluminium decking. Looks amazing.
Discover the amazing benefits and uses of aluminium decking. Patio World, we'll show you how.
This week, Lockie's leaving lockdown and heading back into the mansion.
Missed you so much.
But first...
Ladies, there is a new woman in the race for Lockie's heart.
A new arrival.
Oh my God!
Will take Lockie's breath away.
Beck could be the one.
7:30 tonight.
Some of Australia's top veterinary officials are warning the Prime Minister climate change could send deadly tropical diseases further south. They're calling on government to act now to combat biosecurity threats to our country.
Animals are the origin of 60% of new diseases seen in humans in the last 3 decades. That includes COVID-19. Experts are now warning that could worsen, with carriers like mosquitoes migrating south as the climate warms.
They will move further away from the equator, north and south, and they'll also move further up into the cooler regions like the tablelands. And that's a very big concern.
18 top health officials, including former chief veterinary officers, have penned an open letter to the Prime Minister, calling for the coalition to commit to zero net emissions by 2050.
At least we need to set a target. It's the problem is that we actually haven't got a national target at the moment, and that's what's lacking.
Far North Queensland is on the front line, with tropical carriers like Papua New Guinea's screwworm fly close by.
It can cause huge devastation to our animal populations, and that'll be worse under a global warming scenario.
Today, a government spokesperson told Win News that they are closely monitoring the effect of climate change on disease distribution, but would not commit to the proposed 2050 target. Experts reiterating the time to act is now.
This is an issue that's happening now. It's affecting us now. It's not something that's going to happen in the future. It's happening now. It'll just get worse in the future.
James Ingram, Win News.
It's no surprise seeing the apex predators in croc country, but this whopper croc might have been a little too close for comfort. Back to Basics Adventures shared this video of the Bloomfield River, panning over the river from a boat before this massive croc surfaces alongside it. behaving a bit like a dolphin. He dives back under, coming back up once more before disappearing into the murky water. Certainly not an ideal time to be checking the crab pots, as the video caption suggests. It's been shared more than 13,000 times since being posted yesterday. A friendly reminder they're big and fast. Time for some sports news with Melissa Russell. Mel, the last round of the Lightning Challenge is in Tully.
That's right, Link. It will be the last we'll see of rugby league this year, and another AFL game is coming to Cairns.
The end of an empire while keeping up with the Kardashians is done. 6:30.
Somebody just knocked at my door. This package there. Oh, this is dope. Wait, there's a massive stain on it. And this vanish. I feel like this is some kind of challenge. Let's go figure this out. Let's add half a scoop to cold water. Let's see if we can get this stain out. Yeah, I actually can't believe how quick it's working. So I got the jumper on now. I'm actually feeling this.
For amazing results, just cold wash with Vanish Oxy Action.
The stylish Haval H2. A globally engineered, European-designed and feature-packed SUV. From just $22,990 drive away. Haval H2 Auto. New car thinking.
Our country is getting back on track thanks to this local business. Blue Banner Pickles. Try Blue Banner Pickled Onions. Grown in Tassie just for you. Support local business. Support our country.
Pino Clean Simply Wipes are our new way to disinfect. They kill 99.9% of germs with a plant-based disinfectant active, and they're made with 100% biodegradable fibres. New Pino Clean Simply.
Cairns Big Boys Toys Expo all this weekend. Cars, bikes, boats, caravans, camper vans, ATVs, 4x4 and outdoor adventure. 9 to 4 Saturday, 9 to 3 Sunday. Barlow Park, Cairns. Bring the whole family. Tickets online and at the gate.
Not till after dinner. Oh, did he? Right, yeah. All right, just fine.
There's a glass and a half in everyone.
TV's armchair experts are back in your lounge room.
Who's the masked singer? Bingo!
Look at Dave.
The poor man has no rhythm whatsoever.
Husey definitely has a problem.
I love it.
New Gogglebox, Thursday on Win.
Welcome back. A fourth AFL game has been confirmed for Cairns, with the Fremantle Dockers to extend their stay a little while longer. Sports reporter Dane Lillingston has the latest.
Fremantle will play a second and final game here at Kazali Stadium, with the AFL confirming its round 18 draw. The Dockers will take on the Dogs in round 18 on September 20. The club quickly settling into its new home.
It's a bit of a whirlwind. We sort of getting on the plane every couple of days, travelling, but no, it's been really good. Cairns is a nice place. A few of the boys went to a waterfall yesterday and a couple went to Port Douglas.
They may be sitting 13th on the ladder and out of finals contention, but many have praised their performances this season, particularly coach Justin Longmuir.
He's been unbelievable. He comes in, he really instills confidence in every player to bring their strengths, play to their strengths, and they're just coming in working. He's never really happy with the win. There's always things to improve on.
And Darcy is hunting for a couple more wins before his season is done.
Especially for a young team going into pre-season next year, you see most teams, if they have a good end to the season, they start well the next year. So yeah, it's really important for us.
The club is riding high following an upset win over the Demons on Monday. The team full of confidence at training today ahead of their showdown against North Melbourne on Saturday.
Dane Lillingston there, and with 5 rounds of local footy left, the Cairns City Lions could be the competition's dark horse. A couple of Darwin recruits have helped the side surge into 4th spot with a record of 4 wins and 4 losses. The side is coming off a big win over Menunda, kicking 21-15 to down the Hawks by 116.
Our last month's been fantastic. We upset, Cutters, so and we played really good footy last week. So I think the boys are starting to have the belief now, the more we play with each other.
The Bulldogs look to be the club's only challenger for the final playoff spot, but Cairns City has a massive for and against that should see it play footy deep into October.
It's been a work in progress for the last 2 years, and there are a few grey hairs here coming out. You know, as a coach, the most pleasing thing, at least I know these boys are starting to listen, but they can actually see the benefits of the way we want to move the footy.
The Lions will be aiming for another big score against the Tigers on Saturday, a team yet to win this season. Cameron Munster says it would be foolish to write off the Cowboys heading into round 18 of the NRL at Sunshine Coast Stadium this Sunday. North Queensland is out of finals contention, but the Storm 5/8 is aware of the danger within Josh Hannay's roster.
It's been 5 years since the Cowboys last beat the Storm. Cameron Munster remembers the day well.
We're the ones that played them in the form, and they ended up winning the comp that year. They didn't lose a game after that. So, So we can't afford to have a team like the Cowboys with a lot of confidence.
While the North Queenslanders can't make the 8 this season, Munster won't make the mistake of underestimating the team again.
Phil Holmes, you only need to give him a little sniff, and same with Drinky. They got some great players all over the park, and if you want to start taking teams with great rosters like that for granted, they'll put a lot of points on you and make you look like a fool.
Ryan Pappenhausen is resting an Achilles tendon issue. He'll be replaced by Nico Hines, and Isan Masters stays at left centre for the Cowboys.
It was just good to be out there again. You know, it's something that I enjoy doing, and especially here, like with the boys that we've got and the team we've got, you know, we got a good bond here, and you know, it's just good to be back.
Tickets sold out for the Sunshine Coast Stadium clash in just 24 hours. Cameron Munster would like to see the venue feature in the final series as well.
I'd like to play one of our finals in Sunny Coast, just to say thank you for allowing us to play here and having us here. I think that'd be a real cherry on top for our fans in Sunny Coast that have been really backing us.
Seb Higgins, George, Win News.
Pride coach Ty Williams says he won't stand for any abuse of officials after another Lightning Challenge game was called off. Tully will host the final round this weekend as the Reef Kings look to finish the year undefeated.
After 6 weeks of action, the Lightning Challenge is about to come to an end, but it hasn't all gone to plan, with another game called off by the referees. Ty Williams says any disrespect of officials will not be tolerated.
There's no place for it within the game. If the abuse is getting hurled at the officials and then showing them no respect, then the guys did what they had to do.
The refs made the call in the Brothers Reef Kings clash with 20 to go. The second time in 5 rounds a game has been called early. Williams says he'll be coming down hard if his players are at fault.
And making sure that we as a club, if it is a drama within our club, then we need to stamp it out of the game pretty quickly. So I'll address the playing group again.
Attention now shifts to the final round. The Giants will be led by Safest Chinfat and Denzel King when they take on Brothers, while the Reef Kings are stacked with experience, including Chris Oswald, Josh Stuckey and Bernard Lewis for their Tigers clash.
The final game against Tully will pick the guys that have performed really well over this period, and I think that's a reflection of the two teams. The biggest improvement, the winner out of this whole 6-week comp is Evan Child. He has been outstanding.
The Reef Kings are undefeated, and it's tipped to be a blockbuster in Tully.
They've been very surprisingly good over this period, and that's no disrespect to Ketchy and the boys down there, but they play some really good football.
Dane Livingston, Win News.
And Link, that is our Night in Sport.
Another AFL match at Kazali's Go You Good Things. Thank you, Mel. To the weather details now. A grey and drizzly start to the day with those showers tapering off towards the weekend. The full forecast up next.
We've done this before. We know how to do it. Look next door at New South Wales.
You say we've done this before. The truth is we've done nothing like this before. This is a very different outbreak to anything that we saw in the first wave.
But I think it's quite stressful for people in Victoria, hearing people from the outside saying it's not the right path. You're like, well, what is the right path? Emotions are so heightened,
The MG ZS has all the essentials. Style, 8-inch touchscreen with Apple CarPlay, rear-view sensing camera and plenty of room. From only $21,990 drive away, it's more value for less at MG. Offer ends soon.
Things are getting a little steamy in the Status Plus showroom right now. They're very excited about the $400 cashback offer on selected Siemens kitchen appliances. If you're building or renovating, you should be excited too. Cashback on Siemens, exclusive to Status Plus.
family game at Macca's is here, and it feels so good to be back. With our biggest prize pool ever, you could peel your way to over 1 million Big Mac burgers, a new Volkswagen T-Cross, and shopping vouchers for the iconic and Aussale. Peel, play and win at Macca's today.
Start your life of luxury in a master-built community. You're gonna love where you live in your Ken Frost home. Setting the pace with quality, attention to detail and affordability. From foundations to living arrangements, discover the Ken Frost difference. Love where you live, Ken Frost Homes.
Got an old commercial pressure washer needing an upgrade? Whether it's 10 years old or not working at all, now's the time to trade in your old commercial pressure washer and save. Get up to $1,500 trade-in discount across a range of Karcher's hot and cold commercial pressure washers. And if eligible, take advantage of the government's instant asset write-off. Whether it's cleaning the truck or heavy-duty farm machinery, Karcher has the right equipment to do the job. Visit Water Blaster Sales and Service today.
This report brought to you by Harvey Norman. Everything you need in electrical, technology, furniture and bedding. Shop in store and online today.
Welcome back to Win News. Time for a look at today's weather details. Another showery and windy one for the north, following more falls overnight. In the 24 hours to 9 a.m, Innisfail picked up 28 millimetres in the gauge. Winds were strongest in Low Isles, gusting to almost 60 kilometres per hour around 1 p.m. And 25 the top for Innisfail, but it felt more like 20 degrees with those gusty winds. 4 millimetres fell at Tully to 5 p.m. this evening, where there was a top of 26. On the satellite shot, a high over the eastern Tasman Sea extends a weakening ridge over eastern Queensland. Meanwhile, a weak trough will move over the southwest this evening. So on the synoptic chart, the trough will remain slow moving over the southern interior tomorrow before moving west again later in the week. On our waters tomorrow, winds up to 25 knots, seas and swell up to 2 metres. A look at the forecast now. A little cloudy tomorrow. There's a medium chance of showers about the coast and ranges and just a slight chance elsewhere. Winds will be breezy at times. 25 the max for Cooktown and 20 the minimum. Minimums staying around the high teens except for Mareeba and Atherton. A touch cooler, 22 the top for Atherton. For Cairns tomorrow, possible showers chasing a top of 28, 19 overnight. For the days ahead, Friday partly cloudy with just a slight chance of some light drizzle. Saturday's looking similar. Winds will be breezy in the morning and then showers should pick up a little on Sunday. There's a slight chance of up to 2 millimetres possible and a top of 28. Surprise, surprise. That is the Bulletin for this evening. We'll see you tomorrow night at 6. Good night.
Presentation. Win News, Regional Australia's #1 news source.